Who are a few people we'd love to kick out of society? Let's find out. Starting with number 6. Look at her, please. Self-proclaimed influencer Ava Louise from New Jersey caused a video portal between New York City and Dublin to shut down after flashing her, let's call it, front bumpers on the New York side to an unsuspecting crowd in the capital of Ireland, Dublin. Louise is known for her outlandish behavior, and she posted about the incident on her Instagram story, explaining that she wanted to show the Irish people her so-called homegrown potatoes. Her boyfriend, fellow OnlyFans creator Vinny Buffa, distracted security, allowing her to escape. The portal, an 8-foot-tall webcam setup, allowed people to see but not hear each other. It was the creation of artist Benedictus Gillis, who said he was inspired after a mystical experience. We're not saying there was magic in that mushroom, but there was probably some magic involved. Anyway, it's a cool idea, but there's always that one person who isn't mature enough to have a portal like this. Since its launch, the portal has faced numerous issues, including people showing explicit images and, in this instance, flashing inappropriate content, which we're more thinking, what did they expect? We love New Yorkers and we love the Irish, but let's not pretend that this type of thing was going to attract the finest members of both places. Dublin City Council has been working on technical solutions to address these problems, but the portal hasn't been permanently shut down as of the release of this video. Ava Louise first gained attention in 2019 on the Dr. Phil show, where she boldly stated that she would rather pass away hot than die ugly. She wanted to become insta-famous, obviously a combination of instantly and famous. Right, Gen Z? We totally get you. And she said she wanted to be a skinny legend. Her definition of a skinny legend was someone hot and skinny, believing it brings more advantages in life. So her definition makes total sense. A year later, she went viral for licking an airplane toilet seat at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, claiming it was part of a TikTok challenge, although she later admitted the challenge wasn't real. She explained that the stunt was a strategic move to promote her song Skinny Legend Anthem. Okay, there are no words. She doesn't seem to be the sharpest knife in the drawer, and we're a little disappointed in giving her more attention. In subsequent media appearances, Louise continued to say and do stupid things. She criticized boomers for their reaction to the pandemic and said she didn't care about its impact on her grandparents. She also admitted to making up a story about Kanye West and makeup artist Jeffree Star being in a relationship, purely to garner attention, which would be crazy as hell. We kind of wish it was true. In 2022, Blac Chyna threatened to sue Louise over allegations about a supposed OnlyFans collaboration. That same year, Louise also claimed NFL star Antonio Brown snuck her into his hotel room, violating COVID-19 restrictions. Louise also shared her regrets about a Brazilian butt lift surgery, which she said led to embarrassment and significant lifestyle changes. She gained weight and had difficulty fitting into clothing and airplane seats, forcing her to wear only leggings and stretchy clothes. The surgery, which she hoped would boost her confidence, left her feeling more insecure. She struggled to receive respect and attention for anything other than her appearance, leading her to reverse the procedure through weight loss over a year. It's one thing when people are intentionally stupid, because that may actually be funny and we can laugh and move on. But when they really are stupid, but think they have it all figured out, it's not funny. It starts to get sad. If we can all just agree to stop making these types of people famous, their stupidity is infectious and only encourages more people to continue being worse. Number 5. Diner and Dasher. Kerry Ann Stevens, a lawyer from the UK, was disbarred after committing a series of scams. Apparently, she had ordered kebabs through Just Eat, which is basically DoorDash. With Just Eat, you can pay when the food is delivered. So Stevens picked that option. When the delivery driver arrived and asked for payment, Stevens insisted she had already paid and then shut the door on him. The driver, who had the cost deducted from his wages, reported the incident. This led to Stevens being found guilty of 2 counts of fraud and subsequently disbarred for misconduct. Stevens' troubles began one hungry night in January of 2021 when she ordered food worth £43 from a kebab shop. Upon delivery, she insisted she had already paid. When the driver called the restaurant for confirmation, Stevens promptly shut the door in his face. The restaurant confirmed she hadn't paid, and the cost was deducted from the driver's wages. This wasn't even an isolated incident. In 2023, Stevens and her partner Daniel Alani ordered 60 pounds worth of food at a Harvester restaurant in Essex. After eating, Alani left, and Stevens claimed she couldn't pay because he had taken her bank card. She promised to return with payment, but never did, leaving her passport as collateral. Attempts to contact her failed, and the restaurant eventually reported her to the police. Then, in March of 2022, Stevens was found guilty of 2 counts of fraud and was ordered to pay nearly $2,000 in costs and compensation. Stevens and Alani also faced a confrontation at the Castle Inn, where they tried to skip out on another bill. CCTV footage captured staff and patrons blocking their exit until the police arrived. The tribunal that disbarred Stevens pointed out that her actions were clearly premeditated and deliberate and were motivated by personal financial gain for some reason. The panel showed that Stevens, specializing in criminal law, would have been fully aware of her criminal behavior. Her attempts to evade responsibility, such as shutting the door on the delivery driver and avoiding payment to the harvester, only made her case more obvious. In addition to being disbarred, Stevens was ordered to pay $4,400 in costs. Why she'd do anything to risk her reputation as a lawyer just to save a few bucks is beyond our capacity for understanding. It wasn't even a lot of money involved, where it would at least make some sort of sense, although not justifiable. When wealthy people steal like this just out of pure greed and entitlement, it just sounds bananas. Number 4. Incomplete work. Sydney Rose, a retired school teacher from the UK, wound up in a financial bind after being scammed out of around $40,000 by a dishonest contractor named Stephen Gent. Gent, who has operated under multiple aliases and company names over 15 years, took the money for construction work that was never completed. Mr. Rose and his partner, Catherine Beetham, took out a loan to renovate their Edwardian house, hoping to make it more comfortable for their retirement. They hired Gent's company, White Rock Building Services, to convert their upstairs bedroom into a bathroom and build a conservatory. However, within a couple weeks, the builders just stopped showing up, and Gent ceased all communication. Realizing they had been duped, Mr. Rose had to return to work as a substitute teacher to pay off the loan and hire a new builder for an additional $26,000 to complete the project. The financial strain and stress of being scammed took a toll on both Sydney and Catherine, with Catherine nearly having a mental breakdown. Wendy Craig, another victim from the UK, lost roughly $9,000 to Gent for a garage renovation that was also never finished. She described Gent as a con artist who left a trail of devastated lives. In her frustration, Wendy created a name and shame Facebook group, soon discovering that many others had been similarly deceived by Gent. The stories from other victims mirrored Wendy's experience. Gent would start work, demand further payments, and then disappear, leaving substandard work that required costly repairs. Over the years, Gent had been linked to 9 dissolved companies and used multiple aliases to evade detection. Despite numerous complaints to authorities, including the police, Trading Standards, a UK government service that enforces consumer protection laws, and local councils have taken little action against Gent. Wendy ended up taking her case to court and was awarded $15,000, but has yet to receive any compensation. Surprise, surprise. The impact of Stephen Gent's fraudulent activities extends beyond financial loss. Sydney Rose and Wendy Craig, along with many other victims, have endured significant emotional distress and disruption to their lives. Sydney, at 73, had to go back to work to raise funds to finish up the mess Gent left, while Wendy continued to fight for justice. As of the release of this video, authorities have acknowledged the complaints and are currently investigating Gent. Number 3. The nicest robbery. Shaka Schnell Smith was arrested and charged with grand theft and providing false identification after a series of bold thefts at the same Target location in Coral Springs, Florida. The Coral Springs Police Department responded to a theft in progress at a local Target. On arrival, officers were told that Smith had committed retail theft and left the store. Witnesses and store employees told officers Smith was seen choosing between 4 KitchenAid mixers worth around $1,600. When she finally found the right mixer for her, she grabbed it and walked out without paying. A Target employee reported that when they saw Smith on her way to the exit, she said, quote, "You're doing a good job, baby, but I'm going out that fire exit and I'm coming back." Which is kind of disarming, isn't it? Especially if she were like, "Would you mind holding that door as well?" Security footage clearly showed Smith filling a shopping cart with high-priced items, leaving through a fire exit and loading the merchandise into a black sedan parked at the rear of the store. Days later, the Coral Springs Police Department responded to another theft report at the same Target store. A loss prevention employee identified Smith as a suspect in the previous theft and confirmed she was the same person involved in the earlier incident. Officers arrested Smith, and during the interview, she admitted to intending to steal the items, working in coordination with another individual waiting in a burgundy vehicle. Smith was arrested and transported to the Broward County Main Jail. We don't like the constant stealing from retail stores these days, since now more and more things are getting locked up. It's annoying that we all have to wait 10 minutes for someone to come open the laundry detergent case, you know? It's refreshing that Smith was all nice, though. We like to think that maybe the employee that saw her was having a bad day, and her nice words made it a little better while she was robbing their store. Hey, we'll take any politeness and courtesy where we can get it these days. Number 2. Lightning fast. A daring porch pirate was caught on camera stealing a package worth thousands of dollars right from the hands of a homeowner in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. The theft occurred in the afternoon when Henry, the homeowner, was picking up a package containing 6 iPhones for his family. That's definitely an expensive package. In the surveillance footage, the thief can be seen sprinting towards Henry's door, darting past an Amazon driver, and snatching the package as Henry bent over to retrieve it. Wearing a black guest shirt and a Philadelphia Phillies baseball hat, the thief grabbed the package and ran towards a light tan sedan with tinted windows waiting at the edge of the property. The homeowner, visibly shaken, shared his experience with the local news. He said that now, every time he opens the door for delivery, he has to watch out, noting the thief seemed to target the high-value package. He said he had also noticed the same sedan passing his house moments before the theft. Adding to the strangeness of the situation, Henry received a mysterious phone call shortly after the theft. The caller, from an unknown number, demanded the return of the stolen phones, which was confusing, of course. Henry explained the situation to whomever was on the other end, but was abruptly hung up on. Sounds like someone was messing with him, but that's super weird, right? In Pennsylvania, stealing packages from someone's front steps can be considered a felony offense, thanks to a law signed by Governor Josh Shapiro. This law imposes stricter penalties for repeat offenders and for those who steal high-value packages. Under Senate Bill 527, porch piracy is a third-degree felony if the stolen items exceed $2,000 in value, or if the thief has 2 or more prior convictions for mail theft. Convicted thieves can face up to 7 years in prison. In 2023, an estimated $6 billion worth of goods were stolen by porch pirates across the U.S., with over half of all stolen packages delivered by Amazon. According to SafeWise, a home security and safety organization that provides resources, reviews, and statistics related to home security products and practices, 71% of all packages stolen were valued at $100 or less. So basically, the bill isn't going to help that much. This incident highlights the growing concern over package theft and raises questions about why more homes don't have secure package receptacles to prevent such brazen acts, or use those Amazon lockers that everyone ignores. Yeah, they're a little inconvenient, but so is having your stuff stolen. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay tuned right here to find out how this guy scammed $100 million and how the police found him. Number 1. Relationship issues. Tekashi 6ix9ine's girlfriend, Georgina Guillermo Diaz, also known as Yelin Lamas Viral, was taken into custody by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office in Palm Beach, Florida, where she faced multiple charges. The arrest report kept the victim's identity confidential, but identified him as a singer. Social media posts confirmed he was Tekashi 6ix9ine, whose real name is Daniel Hernandez. The videos showed Guillermo Diaz going after Hernandez. According to the report, the police were called to a home following a domestic dispute. Hernandez said that he and Guillermo Diaz had been arguing all day because she suspected him of looking at other women. When he attempted to leave to defuse the situation, Guillermo Diaz went after him in the driveway. Guillermo Diaz reportedly pulled Hernandez by his hair and kicked the driver's side mirror of his Bentley, breaking it. One social media video showed her damaging the expensive multicolored car. The report indicated that Hernandez retreated to his garage, but Guillermo Diaz prevented him from closing the door. She then grabbed the 2x4 2x4 and struck him with it. While Hernandez dialed 911, Guillermo Diaz allegedly knocked the phone from his hand with the 2x4. Video shared online captured both the garage incident and the phone smacking. Guillermo Diaz then got in his Bentley and damaged the gear shifter before breaking the windshield with a ground stake. Hernandez reportedly restrained Guillermo Diaz in a bear hug, during which she pulled his hair. Guillermo Diaz told deputies that Hernandez had her money, passport, and phone, and she couldn't leave because of this. She admitted to causing the damage to the car just to create financial trouble for him. Guillermo Diaz was booked into jail and received a $9,000 bond during a court hearing. Her attorney, Lorenzo Perez, expressed confidence that the charges would be dropped, especially since Hernandez was advocating for the case's dismissal and was present to support her release. Tekashi has already had a rough time with a couple of significant incidents. There was that group of guys at an LA fitness gym in Lake Worth, Florida, who weren't too happy with Tekashi's testimonies in court. Then, not long after that, he was arrested in Palm Beach County for failing to appear in court on charges related to a traffic violation. We'd be more than happy not having to hear anything about Tekashi 6ix9ine for a long time. They had money, or they had jobs, or they had both. Did they really need to do these crimes? Let's start it off with number 4, Breaking Bad. Danielle Stafford is a young engineer from England. She was stopped for speeding. When the police approached her, she quickly handed them several bags of let's just call it the green stuff, and told them she wanted to come clean. Sensing something wasn't right, the cops searched her car, found more illegal things, and arrested her. On the way to jail, the officers noticed she was fidgeting with her pants, and Danielle admitted she had 11 more illegal stuff hidden down her joggers. It turned out to be 56 more bags. Stafford, cunning as she tried to be, attempted to play the victim card, hoping to fool the authorities. But her charade didn't last long. Right after she got busted, her phone went wild with incessant calls and messages related to the trade, leaving no doubt about her involvement. As the investigation unfolded, law enforcement stumbled upon a staggering 26,917-pound stash of cash hidden craftily throughout Stafford's home. That's not all. They also uncovered a treasure trove of contraband worth a jaw-dropping 33,600 pounds, laying bare the vast extent of her empire. As if that wasn't enough, a thorough search of Stafford's residence revealed a glass jar crammed with an eye-watering 17,600 pounds worth of even harder contraband. Additional evidence, including grass and pills, pointed to an intricate business run right from the comfort of her home. Danielle splurged on lavish luxuries like a swanky second home, 9 flashy watches, and not just 1 or 2, but 3 ridiculously expensive Louis Vuitton handbags. Danielle tried to explain them away by passing them off as fakes or family gifts, but her lies were swiftly dismissed by Judge Mark Burry, who saw right through her. In a stunning twist, Stafford abruptly flipped the script, surprising everyone in the courtroom by changing her pleas from denial to guilty on 4 charges. This sudden turn of events injected a fresh dose of intrigue into an already riveting case. Desperate to shift blame and save her skin, Stafford pointed fingers at a shadowy figure from Liverpool, trying to paint him as the mastermind behind her sprawling empire. But wait, there's more! Stafford had another outrageous tale to tell. She spun a wild story, insisting that her family had a strange habit of stashing wads of cash all over their house instead of trusting banks. And guess who they trusted with safeguarding all that dough? You guessed it, none other than Danielle herself. During the trial, the prosecution revealed that Stafford had evolved from a lowly cannabis peddler to a high-profile Class A dealer. Her ability to fly under the radar had allowed her to amass considerable wealth. However, her luck finally ran out, and they handed her a sobering 7.5-year prison sentence. Danielle's decision to go all Walter White is strange, since guess being an engineer meant she likely wasn't hurting for money. Maybe she should have stuck to driving trains instead, so she could get back on the right track. Number 3. The valedictorian crime boss. Joel Ortiz was a promising college student who was high school valedictorian. He was a brilliant young man with a bright and promising future. But Ortiz had different ideas about his future, and he employed his charm and ingenuity to orchestrate audacious heists by stealing over $5 million in crypto. According to an investigation conducted by Vice Motherboard, Joel employed various techniques to gain access to his target's phones. One method was SIM swapping, a ploy where he would impersonate his victims and convince phone carriers to grant him control over their numbers. SIM swapping opened the door to a treasure trove of sensitive information, allowing Ortiz to seize control of bank accounts, social media profiles, and other digital assets. Victims would find themselves locked out of their lives, while Ortiz reveled in the spoils of his ill-gotten gains. But SIM swapping was just one weapon in Ortiz's arsenal. He delved even deeper into the realm of deception with the port-out scam. Leveraging the vulnerability of two-factor authentication, he manipulated carriers into transferring his victims' phone numbers to new devices he controlled. With access to their two-factor authentication codes, Ortiz bypassed the line of defense for his victims' online accounts. He seized control, leaving them powerless in the wake of his attacks. Each theft grew his empire, and he made a fortune in crypto. Joel Ortiz's criminal enterprise reached new heights when he set his sights on Consensus, a renowned crypto conference. With a clever mix of social engineering and technical prowess, Ortiz stole a massive amount of crypto during the event. One incident that garnered attention during Ortiz's spree involved an anonymous entrepreneur who fell victim to Joel's attacks. The man became a prime target as Ortiz manipulated carriers and executed SIM swaps to gain control of his phone number. This allowed him to bypass security measures and steal his crypto accounts. Ortiz went to great lengths to cover his tracks, but his relentless harassment of one victim's wife and daughter ultimately became his undoing. The harassment caught the attention of law enforcement, triggering a series of events that would lead to his downfall. The police began tracking down Ortiz's digital footprint. They retraced his steps, piecing together a mosaic of evidence that would bring him to justice. The breakthrough came when investigators found Ortiz's email, providing them with invaluable insights into his identity and activities. As authorities dug deeper, they discovered a series of YouTube videos that Ortiz made explaining how to use zero-day exploits. With each discovery, the police identified more victims who had fallen prey to Ortiz's schemes. Ortiz's activities reverberated throughout online communities, including platforms like OG Users. This notorious forum served as a hub for hackers and individuals engaged in illicit activities. Here, Ortiz's actions and exploits gained notoriety, further exposing the depths of his criminal endeavors. Finally, in Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, as Joel prepared to fly to an EDM festival dressed from head to toe in Gucci, the police moved in and arrested him. Ortiz's reign of cybercrime came crashing down. In the courtroom, the culmination of Ortiz's gripping saga took center stage. A plea of no contest echoed through the room. The judge broke the silence by sentencing Ortiz to 10 years in prison. Number 2. Cody Easterday's Ghost Cattle. On December 10th, 2021, Gail Easterday, a 79-year-old farmer from Pasco, Washington, veered his Dodge Ram onto a highway off-ramp, entering a confusing stretch of road. Ignoring warning signs, he drove on the ramp and collided with a vehicle driven by one of his very own delivery drivers on the interstate. The impact was immediate and devastating, resulting in the destruction of both vehicles. Easterday lost his life in the crash, leaving investigators perplexed as they sought to unravel the circumstances of the tragic accident. It was an intentionally fatal crash, and the news sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community surrounding Easterday Farms. Initially, nobody had any answers, but the devastating truth soon emerged. Gail's son Cody had orchestrated a colossal cattle fraud, selling hundreds of thousands of non-existent cows. Cody's elaborate scheme, which he saw as a lifeline for the struggling farm, quickly unraveled, leaving financial ruin. The troubles that plagued Easterday Farms were far from simple. The weight of financial burdens, mismanagement, and bad bets had pushed the farm to the brink of collapse. Suddenly thrust into the spotlight, Cody faced the daunting task of saving his family's legacy from complete ruin. The once proud community now found themselves grappling with doubt and regret, their association with the Easter Day name tarnished. Cody's plight was further complicated by his dealings with Tyson, powerful player in the cattle industry. Tyson's influence loomed large, making it an uphill battle for Cody to salvage what was left of his family's farm. Amidst the mounting challenges, a massive invoice arrived from Tyson, casting a dark cloud over Easter Day farms. This invoice represented a staggering financial burden, exasperating the farm's already crippling debt. The sheer magnitude of this financial blow threatened to push Cody and his farm to the edge of oblivion, intensifying the obstacles he faced. Ranching itself is a complex and demanding endeavor, managing livestock, navigating unpredictable market conditions, and contending with the fickle forces of nature are all inherent complexities of the trade. Such challenges demand profound knowledge, experience, and resources to navigate successfully. Yet, the system was rigged against Cody from the start. The cattle industry's structure, with its intricate web of contracts, pricing mechanisms, and market dynamics, heavily favor corporate behemoths. The playing field was tilted, leaving farmers like Cody vulnerable to exploitation and manipulation. Despite his tireless efforts, Cody found himself pitted against overwhelming odds within this skewed system. Formula contracting emerged as a particularly insidious aspect of Cody's struggles. In this cutthroat practice, industry giants like Tyson established predetermined formulas to dictate the prices ranchers receive for their livestock. Unfortunately, these formulas overwhelmingly favored the buyers, leaving ranchers with minimal negotiating power and vulnerable to devastating financial losses. Cody had little control over the prices he received for his cattle, exasperating his financial situation. So, he decided to hedge his bets, sell more cattle now, and hopefully the price of beef would go up. Could Cody then sell what he had at hopefully a better price, which would cover the new debt he took on from the cattle he didn't have? Desperate to alleviate the mounting pressure, Cody resorted to his risk bets that only deepened the farm's financial woes. Engaging in questionable forward billing, he claimed the existence of cattle he never had to secure funds. Tyson eventually uncovered the truth, discovering that 8 lots of cattle worth a staggering $5.3 million were nothing more than vapor. Cody admitted to invoicing for non-existent cattle and even for feed that was never provided. Sadly, it was the revelation of this fraud that led to the elder Easter Day's tragic decision. The downfall of Easter Day Farms reverberated far beyond the confines of its gates, impacting employees, the local community, and the agricultural industry at large. Job security became uncertain, and the loss of this once reputable family-owned operation sent shockwaves through the local economy. Cody's story epitomized the uphill battle faced by small-scale farmers in an industry heavily skewed toward corporate giants. The repercussions of Cody's actions were immense, amounting to a staggering $244 million bilked from Tyson. He now faced the full weight of legal consequences, pleading guilty to charges of wire fraud. As Easter Day Farms grappled with severe financial strain, they were forced to sell their cherished ranch to repay their mounting debts. Cody's personal journey, following the legal proceedings, may remain shrouded in privacy, limited to those directly involved. However, it's clear that his actions and far-reaching consequences, penalties such as 20 years in prison, hefty fines, and the burden of restitution awaited him. Rebuilding his reputation and financial stability will prove to be an uphill battle as the shadows of his crimes loom large. Number 1. iSpoof. TJ Fletcher is a black hat tech entrepreneur from the UK, and he ran a website called iSpoof. iSpoof was an online fraud shop and served as a haven for criminals, allowing them to scam unsuspecting victims out of over £100 million. With the assistance of iSpoof's tools, fraudsters could disguise their phone calls, making them appear as trustworthy institutions like banks, tricking innocent people into emptying their hard-earned accounts. Fletcher's exploits were undeniably lucrative, as iSpoof raked in over £3.2 million in Bitcoin. Fletcher himself walked away with the majority of Bitcoin at approximately £2 million worth of Bitcoin at the time. At its peak, iSpoof had 59,000 users, with callers armed with the website's tools, targeting up to 20 unsuspecting victims every minute. However, it was in the UK and the US where the majority of these calls hit their mark. The scale of the operation is mind-boggling, with an estimated 200,000 individuals falling victim. TJ Fletcher's criminal record only added to the severity of his actions, with 18 convictions for 36 charges. Throughout the trial, it became clear that Fletcher lacked empathy for his victims. His expressions of remorse were nothing more than a facade, driven solely by regret for being caught rather than a concern for the damage he caused. Unveiling the operation behind iSpoof was no small feat. The Metropolitan Police embarked on an investigation dedicating 700 days of work to dismantle the website and bring its architects to justice. Finally, in a November arrest, Fletcher was apprehended and he pleaded guilty to 4 charges, encompassing the creation and supply of fraudulent materials, encouragement of criminal activity, possession, and transfer of illicit funds. As the gavel struck, Judge Sally Cahill delivered a resounding message. She highlighted the experiences endured by victims and the impact it had on their lives. With the sentence totaling 13 years and 4 months, the judge sought to reflect the gravity of Fletcher's offenses. T.J. Fletcher, a mastermind in his own right, displayed a remarkable level of intellect throughout his criminal career. It's evident that his capabilities extended far beyond scamming, as he possessed the mind to pursue other ventures. However, instead of using his intelligence for positive things, Fletcher made the unfortunate choice to become a scammer. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comments section what you'd rather have: $5 million cash or all your expenses covered for the rest of your life.